Eric crouched behind a small hill, his eyes fixed on the human army below. He had been sent to observe, to report, and to learn. He had seen many battles from afar, but something about this one felt different. The soldiers moved in perfect harmony, their steps precise, their weapons ready. They did not speak much, yet their movements were coordinated. He tilted his head, trying to understand the reason for their unity. Queen Lydia rode at the front. She was young, but her presence was strong. Soldiers followed her not out of fear, but out of respect. She carried herself with calm authority. Her eyes scanned the field, noting positions, weaknesses, and strengths. Eric felt a strange pull of admiration. He had not expected to see a human leader with such clarity and command. The enemy forces were already on the move, large numbers, heavily armed, confident in their strength. Eric felt a chill as he watched. The humans seemed outnumbered, yet they did not panic. They adjusted their formations quickly, shields up, spears ready, eyes alert. He had never seen such quick thinking in an army of ordinary people. He focused on two soldiers who stood out. Lucas, tall and steady, seemed to know every move before it happened. Mia, agile and sharp, moved like water, protecting her comrades with speed and precision. They were young but brave, each step measured, each action purposeful. Eric realized that the soldiers were not just following orders. They were thinking, reacting, and trusting each other completely. The first clash began. Arrows flew, swords clashed, and the ground shook with the sound of battle. Humans fought as one, moving like a single organism. When one fell, another stepped forward without hesitation. The enemy was strong, but confused by the humans' coordination. Eric could hardly believe his eyes. He had expected fear and chaos, but what he saw was discipline, courage, and instinct. Queen Lydia did not stay behind. She led charges, blocked attacks, and lifted the spirits of her soldiers. She moved through the battlefield like a force of nature, giving hope to those around her. Eric noted how soldiers responded to her presence, gaining strength and confidence from her calm determination. It was clear that she was not just a leader by title, she was a true commander, a human who inspired humans. As the battle continued, Lucas and Mia performed small acts that changed the tide. Lucas held a line against a stronger enemy unit, protecting the weaker soldiers behind him. Mia freed trapped soldiers, pushing them back to safety while striking down opponents with skill. Each move was calculated, each action mattered. Eric could not stop watching. He felt a growing respect for the humans, and a creeping doubt about everything he had known about them. The enemy began to retreat, surprised by the humans' resilience. Eric saw the humans standing strong, not just surviving but winning. Their faces were tired, some bloodied, but their eyes were bright with determination. They had faced danger and emerged stronger, proving something Eric had never imagined possible. After the battle, Queen Lydia gathered her soldiers. She spoke with quiet authority, praising bravery and loyalty. Her words were simple but powerful. Eric watched as the soldiers nodded, absorbing her guidance and feeling united. He realized that the true strength of these humans was not just in fighting skills. It was in their spirit, their courage, and their unwavering loyalty to each other and their queen. Eric took notes silently. Every detail mattered. He could not wait to share what he had seen. Humans were different from anything he had imagined. They were clever, brave, and unstoppable when united. He had come to watch, but he could not hide his growing awe. He had witnessed something extraordinary, and he knew this was only the beginning of a story far greater than any battle he had seen before. Eric followed from a distance as Queen Lydia led her army back to camp. He stayed hidden behind trees and rocks, trying to observe without being seen. The queen moved with purpose, her soldiers attentive to every command. She did not just give orders. She walked among them, checked their wounds, encouraged them, and made sure they were ready for the next challenge. In the camp, humans worked quickly. They repaired armor, sharpened swords, and tended to the wounded. Lucas carried heavy supplies while speaking calmly to the tired soldiers. Mia moved swiftly, delivering water and helping those who could not walk. Every human seemed to know exactly what to do, and no one hesitated. Eric could not stop watching. The humans were ordinary in appearance, but extraordinary in action. Their teamwork was instinctive, and their loyalty to each other and the queen was unmatched. He had never seen such organization in any army. The Queen studied maps and spoke quietly with her commanders, making adjustments based on what she had seen on the battlefield. She was not just reacting, she was planning ahead, thinking 5 steps forward. As night fell, humans kept watch around the camp. They did not sleep all at once. Some stood guard, while others rested in shifts. Lucas and Mia took positions that allowed them to protect the camp while staying close to their comrades. The Queen rested only briefly, but her eyes remained alert. Eric realized that human strength was not just in fighting. It was in their preparation, their constant attention to every detail, and their care for each other. The next morning, scouts reported enemy movements. A large force was advancing, aiming to crush the humans before they could recover. The Queen quickly called a meeting. Soldiers gathered around, listening to her simple but powerful instructions. She assigned positions, explained strategies, and reminded them of their strength. Eric noted how her words lifted spirits. The humans were ready to face a greater enemy, and fear did not show in their faces. The humans set traps and used the terrain wisely. Soldiers dug shallow pits and camouflaged them. They placed rocks and logs in strategic positions. The Queen positioned Lucas and Mia at key points to control the battlefield. Eric felt a thrill as he realized how clever the humans were. They were thinking, planning, and adapting in ways that no ordinary army would. When the enemy arrived, humans were prepared. They used quick attacks and sudden retreats to confuse the larger force. Arrows flew from hidden positions, spears struck suddenly, and humans appeared where the enemy least expected. Lucas and Mia performed perfectly, moving with the flow of battle, protecting their comrades and striking with precision. The enemy became frustrated, unsure how to respond to the humans' clever tactics. The Queen moved calmly through the battlefield. She was visible to her soldiers, but stayed just out of immediate danger. Her presence inspired courage and focus. Humans fought with determination, covering each other, making split-second decisions, and staying united. Eric could not believe his eyes. Even when faced with overwhelming numbers, the humans adapted, struck hard, and never panicked. By the end of the day, the humans had defeated the larger enemy force again. They were tired and bloodied, but their eyes shone with determination. They celebrated briefly, but quickly began preparing for the next challenge. Queen Lydia addressed the soldiers, praising bravery and teaching lessons from the battle. Her calm authority and intelligence kept the army motivated. Eric took careful notes. He could see that humans were more than soldiers, were thinkers, leaders, and heroes. He realized that the battles were not just about strength. They were about courage, planning, and the ability to trust each other completely. He had watched humans fight and win against impossible odds. His admiration grew with every moment, and he knew that what he was witnessing was the start of something extraordinary.
Yes!
As night fell again, the camp was quiet but alert. Humans tended their fires, shared stories, and prepared for whatever came next. Lucas and Mia checked their weapons and stood ready. The Queen sat quietly, reviewing strategies and maps. Eric felt a sense of awe. He had come to watch a battle, but was now witnessing the making of legends. The humans were proving that bravery, unity, and clever thinking could conquer even the greatest challenges. Eric moved quietly through the camp, observing how humans prepared for the next battle. He noticed Queen Lydia speaking with commanders, adjusting positions, and reviewing maps. Every movement was precise, every decision calculated. She walked among her soldiers, asking questions, checking their equipment, and encouraging them. Her calm confidence seemed to give everyone around her strength. Lucas sharpened his sword and checked his armor. Mia practiced her strikes and reviewed the traps they had set around the camp. Other soldiers worked together to reinforce defenses and organize supplies. Eric realized that every human had a role and understood it completely. No one wasted time or energy. Every action had a purpose, and every soldier acted with intelligence and courage. Eric followed Queen Lydia to a small hill overlooking the field. She pointed out strategic positions, noting where enemy attacks were likely to come. She explained her thoughts to her commanders, and they nodded, adjusting plans. Eric was amazed at her insight. She was young, but her mind worked like a veteran strategist. He could see why her army trusted her so completely. As the sun rose, scouts returned with reports of enemy movements. A larger force was approaching, more disciplined and stronger than the previous ones. Queen Lydia called her soldiers together. She spoke with calm authority, giving clear instructions and motivating them with words about honor, courage, and loyalty. The humans listened, focused, and ready. They did not complain or show fear. Eric felt a growing admiration for their discipline and bravery. The humans took positions based on the Queen's strategy. They used terrain to their advantage, placing archers on hills and soldiers in hidden positions. Traps were set in areas where the enemy might advance. Lucas and Mia were positioned in key points, ready to lead small teams and respond to sudden attacks. Eric realized the humans were not just reacting, they were predicting, planning, and controlling the flow of battle. When the enemy appeared, humans executed their plan perfectly. Arrows flew from high positions, hitting enemies before they could reach the front line. Soldiers moved quickly, covering each other and pushing back attacks with precision. Lucas held the line against a strong enemy group, while Mia moved swiftly to protect wounded soldiers and strike at weak points. Eric could see how every action was connected, how teamwork and trust gave humans an advantage, even against larger numbers. The battle grew intense. Humans adapted instantly to enemy moves, changing positions, setting new traps, and exploiting weaknesses. The Queen observed from a safe distance, giving commands and adjusting strategies as needed. Her presence kept the soldiers focused, and their confidence grew with every successful maneuver. Eric noted that the humans were not just fighting. They were learning, thinking, and using every resource to survive and win. As the day ended, the humans emerged victorious again. Many were tired and wounded, but their spirits were strong. Queen Lydia addressed the soldiers, praising their bravery and teamwork. She emphasized the importance of unity and vigilance. Eric watched as the soldiers nodded, listening carefully and understanding the lessons. He realized that human strength was not only in physical skill, but in intelligence, planning, and loyalty to each other and their leader. After the battle, humans repaired equipment and treated the injured. Lucas and Mia helped wherever needed, showing skill and care. The Queen checked each group, ensuring everyone was ready for future challenges. Eric felt inspired by the humans' resilience. He had expected ordinary fighters, but found extraordinary courage and discipline. He knew that what he witnessed was far beyond any battle he had seen before. As night fell, the camp was quiet, but alert. Humans maintained watch, and the Queen reviewed maps for the next day's plans. Eric wrote in his notes, detailing every observation. He understood that humans were exceptional. Their combination of courage, strategy, and teamwork made them powerful. He realized that the next battles would test their limits, but humans were ready, and their spirit would not break. Eric felt that he was witnessing the beginning of a legend that would be told for generations. Eric hid behind a cluster of rocks, watching the horizon as the enemy army approached. They were larger than any humans had faced before, organized and confident. Eric felt a tension he had not experienced in previous battles. He knew the humans were brave, but this time, their challenge was extreme. Queen Lydia rode along the front lines, her eyes scanning every movement. She called out orders with clear and calm voice, adjusting positions and assigning tasks. Soldiers listened carefully, responding instantly. Lucas and Mia moved through the ranks, helping soldiers find the best positions and ensuring traps were ready. Eric could see the humans preparing not just to fight, but to win. The Queen gathered her soldiers in a brief meeting. She spoke about courage, unity, and defending their homeland. Her words were simple, but powerful. Every human seemed to feel strength from her voice. Fear was present, but it did not control them. Eric realized that this confidence was one of the humans' greatest weapons. It allowed them to act with clear minds and quick reflexes. The humans positioned themselves carefully. Archers were placed on hills. Soldiers with spears formed protective lines. And traps were camouflaged along likely paths of enemy movement. Lucas and Mia were stationed at critical points to control the battlefield. Eric was impressed by the humans' foresight and attention to detail. Every soldier had a role and executed it without hesitation. The battle began with a roar from the enemy army. Humans reacted instantly. Arrows flew from elevated positions, hitting key targets and slowing the enemy advance. Soldiers in the front lines moved in perfect coordination, blocking attacks and pushing back enemy soldiers. Lucas held his ground against a stronger opponent, using skill and timing to protect others. Mia ran between points, striking enemies and rescuing wounded soldiers. Eric noticed how humans adapted during the fight. When the enemy changed tactics, the humans responded immediately, adjusting formations, reinforcing weak points, and exploiting openings. The Queen observed from a high ridge, giving commands when necessary, but trusting her soldiers to make decisions. The unity and intelligence of the humans amazed him. They were not just fighting with strength, they were fighting with strategy, instinct, and trust. The enemy pressed forward, expecting humans to collapse under pressure. Instead, they found resistance at every turn. Traps slowed them down. Sudden attacks from hidden positions struck hard, and soldiers moved as if they knew each other's thoughts. Eric realized that this was not just skill or luck. It was the human spirit, determination, and loyalty to each other and the Queen. As the battle raged on, the humans began to push the enemy back. Lucas and Mia performed key actions, rescuing trapped soldiers and striking at enemy weaknesses. The Queen's commands were precise, guiding the army to take advantage of openings without exposing themselves to unnecessary danger. The humans moved with confidence, striking hard and staying united. By evening, the humans had defeated the overwhelming enemy force. Their faces were exhausted and their bodies were sore, but their eyes shone with determination. Queen Lydia gathered her soldiers, praising their bravery and teaching lessons from the battle. She reminded them that courage, unity, and careful planning were as important as strength. Eric took detailed notes. He had expected fear and chaos, but instead, he had witnessed discipline, intelligence, and bravery. He understood that humans could face any challenge and still rise stronger. As night fell, the camp was quiet but alert. Soldiers tended fires, cared for the wounded, and prepared for the next day. Lucas and Mia checked traps and equipment, ready for another fight. Queen Lydia studied maps and planned future strategies. Eric felt awe for what he had seen. Humans were not just ordinary fighters. They were thinkers, planners, and heroes. Their ability to face overwhelming odds, adapt, and win inspired him. He knew this story would change the way others saw humans. He had watched them in battle and realized they were far more powerful than anyone had imagined. Their courage and unity were unstoppable, and the legend of these humans was only beginning. Eric followed the humans after the last battle, watching how they prepared for the next challenge. He was amazed by how they never lost focus despite exhaustion. Queen Lydia walked through the camp, speaking to soldiers and checking their readiness. She did not just give orders. She listened, encouraged, and made decisions with calm confidence. The soldiers trusted her completely, knowing she had their safety and success in mind. Lucas and Mia were moving through the camp, helping soldiers who were wounded or tired. Lucas lifted heavy supplies and positioned troops for training. Mia guided younger soldiers, teaching them quick and efficient ways to use weapons. Eric noted how every human had a role, and they performed it without hesitation. Teamwork was natural to them, and trust in each other was clear. A sudden scout report came. Enemy forces were gathering to attack from a new direction. The humans did not panic. Queen Lydia quickly gathered her commanders and discussed the strategy. She analyzed the terrain, the number of soldiers, and the strengths and weaknesses of her army. She then shared her plan with everyone, clearly explaining each person's task. Soldiers listened carefully, ready to act. The humans moved into position. Archers climbed small hills, soldiers formed protective lines, and traps were set where the enemy would likely advance. Lucas and Mia were stationed in key areas to lead teams and respond to threats. Eric could see the humans' preparation was flawless. They were not only ready for battle, they were ready to control it. The enemy arrived, larger than expected. Humans responded instantly, striking quickly and moving as one. Arrows hit enemy targets from elevated positions, soldiers blocked attacks and countered with skill. Lucas held a line, protecting weaker soldiers behind him, while Mia ran swiftly to assist wherever needed. The humans adapted to every enemy move, changing positions and adjusting strategies without hesitation. The battle intensified. The humans worked together like a single unit. Each soldier knew when to attack and when to defend. Queen Lydia observed from a ridge, giving precise commands and keeping the army coordinated. Eric realized the humans were not just strong, they were smart, brave, and united. Their ability to think, react, and support each other gave them the advantage even against larger forces. During the fight, Lucas rescued a group of trapped soldiers, holding back the enemy with skill and courage. Mia carried injured soldiers to safety, while returning to strike at the enemy's weak points. Their actions inspired others, showing that bravery and quick thinking could change the outcome of the battle. Eric was astonished by the human spirit and determination. As the sun began to set, humans pushed the enemy back. The larger army could not withstand the combined force of bravery, intelligence, and strategy. The humans had won again, and their victory was decisive. Soldiers cheered, tending to the wounded and repairing equipment quickly. Queen Lydia spoke to the army, praising their courage and reminding them of the importance of unity and planning. Her words strengthened their resolve for the future. Eric took detailed notes. He had watched humans face overwhelming odds, adapt quickly, and emerge victorious. He realized their true strength lay in their courage, loyalty, and ability to think together. He had seen individuals act heroically like Lucas and Mia, and the collective power of the army under Queen Lydia. It was a combination that no enemy could easily defeat. That night, the camp was quiet but vigilant. Soldiers kept watch, repaired weapons, and rested in shifts. Lucas and Mia checked traps and guided soldiers. Queen Lydia studied maps and strategies, preparing for the challenges ahead. Eric felt a deep sense of admiration. He had come to observe humans, but he had witnessed legends in the making. Their bravery, intelligence, and unity were unmatched. And he knew that humans were capable of achieving what no one else could imagine. The story of their courage and heroism would be remembered for generations. Eric observed the camp at dawn as soldiers prepared for what could be the decisive battle. The enemy was approaching with a massive force. Humans worked without hesitation. Queen Lydia walked among them, checking weapons and supplies, giving instructions and offering encouragement. Her calm and confident presence inspired courage and focus. She did not just command, she guided and motivated each soldier individually. Lucas tested his sword, checking its balance and sharpness. Mia moved among the troops, helping where needed and giving advice on formations. Other soldiers repaired armor, organized supplies, and prepared traps for the approaching enemy. Eric noted that humans were organized, disciplined, and aware of every detail. Nothing was left to chance. Scouts returned with information about enemy movements. They were larger and more disciplined than any army humans had faced before. Queen Lydia gathered her commanders to discuss the strategy. She analyzed terrain, enemy positions, and her army's strengths and weaknesses. She adjusted the plan and assigned critical roles. Eric watched her carefully explain each step. Her words were simple but clear, and every soldier understood their task and the importance of their actions. The humans took positions with precision. Archers were placed on hills, spearmen formed defensive lines, and traps were set to slow enemy advances. Lucas and Mia led teams in key areas, ready to respond to sudden threats. Eric realized that humans were not just preparing to fight, they were preparing to win. The enemy advanced, confident in their numbers. Humans reacted instantly. Arrows flew from hidden positions, striking enemy soldiers before they reached the lines. The front line held strong, blocking attacks and pushing back opponents. Lucas fought fiercely, protecting weaker soldiers behind him. Mia moved swiftly, rescuing injured soldiers and striking enemy weaknesses. The humans adapted continuously, responding to enemy tactics with skill and intelligence. The queen watched from a safe ridge, giving commands when needed and trusting her army to make decisions. Eric saw the unity of the humans in action. They moved together like a single organism, each action coordinated, each decision supporting the next. Even when the enemy changed strategy, the humans adapted instantly, using clever maneuvers to maintain control of the battlefield. The battle raged on, and the humans gradually gained the upper hand. Lucas led a charge to free trapped soldiers, while Mia carried the injured to safety. Their bravery inspired others to fight harder. Queen Lydia's leadership and tactical skill allowed the humans to exploit openings and strike the enemy with precision. Eric realized that strength alone did not win battles. It was courage, intelligence, and unity that made humans nearly unstoppable. As the sun began to set, the enemy began to retreat, unable to withstand the humans' skill and coordination. The battlefield was scarred, and humans were exhausted, but they had emerged victorious. Queen Lydia addressed her soldiers, praising their bravery, teamwork, and sharp thinking. She reminded them that courage and loyalty were as important as physical strength. Eric took detailed notes, recording every action, every strategy, and every moment of heroism. He understood that humans had surpassed ordinary soldiers. They were thinkers, planners, and warriors all in one. Their ability to face overwhelming odds, adapt quickly, and support each other made them formidable. He realized that this battle would be remembered for generations. As night fell, the camp was quiet but vigilant. Soldiers tended fires, cared for the wounded, and prepared for future challenges. Lucas and Mia checked weapons and traps. Queen Lydia studied maps and strategies, thinking ahead to possible enemy movements. Eric felt awe for what he had witnessed. Humans were not ordinary. They were extraordinary. Their courage, intelligence, and unity made them unstoppable, and their story would become a legend that inspired all who heard it. Eric knew he had witnessed the peak of human strength and strategy. Eric watched quietly as Queen Lydia and her soldiers returned from the battlefield. Their faces were tired and marked with dirt and blood, but their eyes held determination and pride. He had followed them through many battles, but nothing had prepared him for the moment he realized the full strength of humans. The queen moved among her soldiers, praising bravery and guiding the wounded. She spoke with calm authority, and every soldier listened carefully. Lucas and Mia were busy helping those in need, their courage and leadership shining clearly. Eric saw how humans relied on each other, how they acted with instinct, intelligence, and trust. After the camp settled, Eric approached Queen Lydia. He had watched everything and knew it was time to understand the source of her power. She looked at him calmly, reading his thoughts without words. He asked quietly, "Why are humans so strong, so brave, so united?" But the queen smiled and said, "Humans fight not for power, but for each other, for their home, and for what they believe is right. Strength comes from unity and courage." Eric realized the truth in her words. He had seen humans win impossible battles, survive overwhelming odds, and adapt quickly to challenges. He had seen individual heroes rise, like Lucas and Mia, and the power of an army that worked together perfectly. He understood that their victories were not luck or skill alone. They were the result of heart, mind, and loyalty. The queen gathered all her soldiers. She spoke of honor, unity, and the courage that made them victorious. She reminded them that battles would continue, but their spirit was their greatest weapon. Lucas and Mia stood at her side, examples of bravery, quick thinking, and dedication. Eric felt a sense of awe and admiration he had never known before. He understood that humans were extraordinary. The camp was alive with activity even after the battle. Soldiers tended fires, repaired weapons, and cared for the wounded. Lucas checked traps, while Mia guided the younger soldiers through repairs. Queen Lydia studied maps and strategies, preparing for any threat that might come next. Eric realized that preparation, intelligence, and care for one another were as important as courage and strength in battle. As night fell, Eric took notes on every detail. He knew that the story of these humans would inspire many. He had come to observe, to report, but he had witnessed legends in the making. Humans were more than soldiers. They were thinkers, planners, leaders, and heroes. Their courage, unity, and intelligence made them unstoppable. Eric reflected on the battles he had seen. The humans had faced overwhelming numbers, stronger enemies, and dangerous situations, yet they had emerged victorious every time. Their ability to adapt, protect each other, and trust in their queen made them different from any army he had ever known. He understood that this was why humans were remarkable, why they could achieve what others could not. As the camp settled into quiet vigilance, Queen Lydia sat among her soldiers, planning, teaching, and inspiring. Lucas and Mia continued their work, leading by example. Eric felt that he had learned more than any report could explain. Humans were extraordinary not because of weapons or numbers, but because of courage, loyalty, intelligence, and unity. Eric knew he would never forget what he had seen. He had watched humans in battle, and realized that they were capable of greatness beyond imagination. Their courage, strategy, and teamwork had turned the impossible into reality. He understood that this story would be told for generations. A story of heroes, bravery, and the unstoppable human spirit. Humans had shown that when they fought together, nothing could stand in their way. Eric had witnessed their true power, and it left him shocked, inspired, and forever changed.